Emma Parker is the kind of girl you barely notice in a crowd. Quiet, always tucked behind her long strands of hair, and carrying a stack of books wherever she goes. One rainy afternoon, she slips a simple note under the windshield wiper of a sleek, midnight blue Mercedes parked by the old oak tree in Maple Park. It reads, "Your car brightened my darkest day. Thank you for reminding me that beauty still exists." Marcus Evans is a millionaire who built his life on grand dreams, until his vision for a community center collapsed, leaving him with empty bank accounts and deeper loneliness than ever before. When he discovers Emma's note on his prized car, he can't believe someone could see kindness in something so ordinary. That single message stirs memories of hope long buried. What starts as a fragile exchange of paper and gratitude soon grows into an unexpected friendship. Emma's shy courage awakens Marcus's bruised heart. His wisdom teaches her the power of daring to dream. Together, they spark a chain of small miracles that change both their lives and everyone they touch. This is a story of quiet bravery, broken dreams, and the surprising ways two strangers can light up each other's world. Before we start the story, leave a comment to let us know which city you're watching from. Like and subscribe to support our community. Your support means a lot to us. Now, enjoy the story as we continue. Emma Parker slipped off her worn canvas shoes as she dashed from the bus stop toward the coffee shop. The February air was crisp, and a light drizzle painted the sidewalks in glossy streaks of gray. She hugged her notebook tighter to her chest, her heart fluttering with the same nervous excitement she felt any time she tried something new. Today was different. Today, she would leave her words for someone she didn't know. The coffee shop bell chimed as she entered, and the warm scent of roasted beans wrapped around her like a comforting blanket. She ordered her usual, a black Americano with a splash of milk, and took her usual seat by the window. From there, she could see the old oak tree in Maple Park across the street, where a gleaming Mercedes had parked just moments before. Emma had watched that car appear earlier, its glossy doors reflecting the wet pavement. She studied the driver for a fraction of a second. Dark suit, neat hair, an air of quiet pride. The owner had stepped away, and she realized her chance had come. Pulling a blank sheet from her notebook, Emma's pen hovered uncertainly before words spilled onto the paper. "Your car brightened my darkest day. Thank you for reminding me that beauty still exists." It was simple, honest, a piece of her heart laid bare. She finished her coffee in 2 large gulps. Thunder rumbled softly overhead as Emma dashed outside, her notebook clutched like a secret treasure. She approached the Mercedes, rain dripping from her hair, and slipped the folded note under the windshield wiper. Her fingers trembled. A sharp clap of thunder startled her, and she jumped back, accidentally kicking a pebble that skittered across the pavement. Her cheeks burned as she fled down the sidewalk, head bowed to hide the mixture of fear and exhilaration rushing through her. Back in the coffee shop, Emma sank into her seat, heart pounding so loudly she was sure the man outside could hear it. She imagined him finding her note, reading her words, and maybe, just maybe, understanding how much courage it took for a shy girl like her to reach out. Minutes passed like hours. She watched the park through her window, waiting for a clue that he'd seen her message. But the Mercedes stayed silent, and the driver never returned. Emma wondered if it had been a mistake, if she'd misread his face. A quiet resolve settled over her. Even if he never replied, she'd cast a small light into someone else's world today. And with that thought, Emma smiled to herself, her heart a little lighter, ready for whatever tomorrow might bring. Marcus Evans pushed open the heavy glass doors of Willow Cafe, his mind elsewhere. He was early for his lunch meeting, so he'd decided to walk through Maple Park to clear his head. The park lay quiet this afternoon. No laughter of children, no rustle of joggers, just the dull drip of raindrops falling from cloud-laden branches. He reached his midnight blue Mercedes and stopped dead. Under the windshield wiper, a single sheet of white paper fluttered. He bent, picked it up with one gloved finger, and unfolded it. The handwriting was neat, almost delicate, and the words were simple. "Your car brightened my darkest day. Thank you for reminding me that beauty still exists. Marcus blinked, then read the note again. His breath came slow, measured. He'd seen praise before. News articles had called him generous, innovative, a visionary. But a stranger's gratitude, offered without expectation, made something warm and fragile awaken inside him. He scanned the empty park, half expecting to see someone. No one. Just the oak tree, its old bark glistening wet, and rows of benches that seemed to sag under the weight of silence. Marcus tucked the note into his pocket and eased into the driver's seat. He stared at the steering wheel, mind drifting back 6 months. It had started as his proudest dream, a community center for Eastwood, his childhood neighborhood. He'd pitched it like one of his successful startups. Bold colors, modern lines, a place where art students could rehearse, where seniors could take cooking classes, where after-school programs would guide kids away from trouble. He'd invested nearly all his fortune into it, convinced he could change lives. Build it, they would come. He still believed that. But the contractors he trusted vanished with the funds. Legal battles drained his savings. Vendors demanded payment. The city pulled its permit. Marcus watched, powerless, as empty scaffolding rusted under sun and rain. He had seen hope dissolve into dust. When the last invoice came in, larger than any he'd anticipated, he couldn't pay. Banks froze his accounts. Headlines proclaimed the fallen millionaire, a cautionary tale of hubris. He lost more than money. He lost faith in his vision. His phone buzzed, yanking him from the memory. He checked the message, running late. See you in 10. It was from his business partner. A deal that might save his reputation, if only he could pull it off. Marcus pocketed the phone and exhaled. He turned the key, and the engine rumbled to life. The cafe waited ahead, a chance to take one more step forward. Still, his fingers brushed the note in his coat pocket. That unasked for gratitude felt like a gentle hand on his shoulder, reminding him that somewhere, someone saw beauty in his efforts, even if he could not. He pressed the accelerator and drove toward the cafe entrance, the echo of Emma's words ringing quietly in his mind. Perhaps, he thought, beauty was more than a dream unfinished. Perhaps it was a promise waiting to be kept. Emma Parker returned to her favorite coffee shop the following morning, heart still fluttering from yesterday's daring act. She passed through the same glass doors, ordered her usual Americano, and claimed her window seat. Every time she inhaled the rich aroma of freshly ground beans, she felt both comforted and brave, as if each cup gave her the courage to speak her quiet truths. As she settled into her chair, Emma pulled out her sketchbook. She flipped to a blank page and watched the rain-slicked world outside. Cars passed by in soft blurs, umbrella handles jostled on the pavement, and the oak tree stood steady, its branches dripping with gentle droplets. She traced the outline of the tree's silhouette on her paper, remembering Marcus's note and the flutter of hope it gave her. Her pencil hovered, then began to draw a simple scene, a girl leaving a note on a car. She paused at the moment the paper slipped under the wiper, careful to capture the tension in her own story. As she sketched, she whispered to herself, "It's okay to reach out." The bell chimed, and Emma looked up to see Marcus Evans enter. She froze, pencil in midair. He paused at the counter, ordered a black coffee, and then turned. His eyes scanned the room until they rested on her. Emma's breath caught. Her heart thudded, and her cheeks warmed. Marcus carried a quiet authority in his long stride, his tailored coat brushing the backs of chairs. He collected his coffee and started toward the door, but then hesitated. Emma noticed his hesitation and looked back to her sketchbook, pretending to be lost in her drawing. He stood a few feet away, shifting his weight. Emma's pulse raced. Should she look up? She coaxed herself with a silent mantra. It's just coffee. He's just a stranger. Marcus cleared his throat softly. Emma lifted her gaze and met his eyes. He offered a small, shy smile. Emma returned a gentle nod. "May I sit?" he asked, voice low and polite. Emma's lips curved into a surprised smile. Of course. He settled across from her, his coffee steaming faintly between them. Emma's pencil trembled. Their eyes met in a silent moment of recognition and unspoken questions. Outside, the rain softened to a gentle drizzle. Finally, Marcus broke the silence. "Thank you for your note," he said quietly. "I've never received anything like that before." Emma's heart lifted. "I'm glad you liked it." She tapped at her sketchbook. "I drew this just now." She turned the book so he could see the quick, delicate lines of the oak tree, the car tires, and the small figure leaving a note. Marcus leaned forward, studying her drawing. "You're talented," he said. "You see more than most." Emma blushed. I like to notice small things." He nodded, stirring his coffee. Steam rose in lazy swirls. "That's exactly what I've been missing." Their conversation unfolded slowly, like petals opening in the rain. They spoke of cloudy mornings and hidden hopes, of broken dreams and tiny miracles. Emma found herself sharing more than she intended: her love for art, her fear of being invisible, her longing to belong. Marcus listened with gentle attention, as though each word was a treasure. And for the first time in months, he felt seen. When the rain eased and the sky brightened, they stood together. Marcus held the door for Emma, and they stepped back into the world beyond the cafe. The oak tree in the park waited, silent and patient. Emma lifted her eyes to Marcus. "See you tomorrow?" she asked softly. He smiled, a real warm smile that reached his eyes. "I'd like that." And as they parted, both felt the quiet thrill of a new connection, one born from simple courage and the promise of what might bloom next. That evening, after the meeting at Willow Cafe, Marcus Evans drove home in thoughtful silence. Emma's presence had stayed with him, her gentle smile, her earnest eyes. He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out the note she had slipped under his windshield wiper. The paper was slightly damp but intact. Marcus sat at his mahogany desk in his study, surrounded by shelves of law books and framed photos of past ventures. He smoothed out the paper, recollecting her words, "Your car brightened my darkest day. Thank you for reminding me that beauty still exists." Marcus fetched a fresh sheet of ivory stationery. He uncapped his favorite fountain pen, its nib glinting under the desk lamp. He thought carefully, choosing words that felt honest but not heavy. His hand moved in steady strokes. "Dear stranger, your note arrived at a time when I had all but forgotten what hope feels like. Thank you for seeing something beautiful in my efforts, despite their failures. You reminded me that small kindness can light the darkest paths. I hope this note returns the favor. Sincerely, a grateful millionaire." He paused after signing his name. It felt strange to call himself a grateful millionaire, but he meant every word. He reread the note and felt a soft warmth in his chest. Folding the stationery with care, he placed it in an envelope and addressed it simply, "To the quiet artist, Maple Park." The next morning, Marcus drove his Mercedes to the coffee shop where he had first spoken with Emma. The sky was overcast, but the rain held off, as if the world was giving him a chance to make things right. He parked near the entrance and carried the crisp envelope inside. Discreetly, he watched Emma at her usual window seat, her head bent over her sketchbook. She was lost in her art, unaware of him. Marcus cleared his throat softly. Emma looked up, startled, as he approached with a shy smile. He handed her the envelope. "For you," he said. Emma's fingers trembled as she took it. Her brow furrowed in gentle confusion. "What is it?" she whispered. Marcus shrugged, trying to appear casual. "A note. From me." Emma unfolded the envelope and pulled out the stationery. She read the words silently, her eyes widening with surprise. Then she looked up, her cheeks pink. "You wrote this?" Marcus nodded, his voice soft. I wanted to thank you properly. Emma's eyes glistened. She traced the neat handwriting with her fingertip. It's beautiful, she murmured. She folded the note carefully and tucked it into her sketchbook. I'll keep it safe. Marcus felt a quiet joy swell inside him. I'd like to see what you draw today, he said. Emma hesitated, then opened her sketchbook to reveal yesterday's drawing. She flipped a page and showed him a new sketch, a simple heart above the oak tree, with initials M+E etched lightly beneath. Marcus leaned in, impressed. That's wonderful. Emma smiled shyly. I hope you don't mind. Not at all, Marcus replied. He tapped at his notebook. Maybe one day we'll draw our own story together. Emma's heart fluttered. She nodded, eyes shining with hope. Outside, the old oak tree in Maple Park stood steadfast, as though witnessing the beginning of something both fragile and strong, a promise written on paper and yet immeasurably more. The next morning, Emma Parker arrived at Maple Park feeling a flutter of excitement. She walked directly to the oak tree, where her previous sketchbook lay waiting under a bench, her secret exchange spot. Marcus had asked her to leave her drawings and notes there, and she obeyed with a mix of nervous hope and quiet joy. Emma opened her bag and carefully retrieved her sketchbook. Tucked between its pages was a crisp envelope in Marcus's neat handwriting. Her heart skipped. She sat on a damp bench and unfolded the stationery. Dear Emma, it began, your drawing brought a smile to my face like sunlight through clouds. Your talent and kindness remind me why I believed in this dream in the first place. Thank you for sharing a piece of your world with me. I hope to learn more. Emma closed her eyes as she read those lines. A warm glow spread through her chest. She pressed the note to her heart. Then she slid the stationery into her coat pocket and reopened her sketchbook. With trembling hands, she sketched a small bird perched on the notebook's edge, symbolizing her newfound freedom, and wrote beneath it, Dear Marcus, seeing beauty in broken things takes courage. Thank you for reminding me that dreams deserve second chances. You've inspired me to keep drawing, even when I'm scared. She sealed her note in an envelope and tucked it into Marcus's envelope of yesterday. She left the sketchbook on the bench, then turned and hurried away, her heart pounding. She imagined Marcus discovering her message and wondered what he might write next. Several hours later, Marcus walked through the park on a break from his office. He approached the oak tree, eyes searching for Emma's sketchbook. There it was, under the same bench. He sat down and opened it. Emma's drawing greeted him, a small bird, simple but striking, with lines that spoke of courage and hope. He unfolded the note and read her words again. He folded the paper carefully and retrieved his own fountain pen. On a fresh sheet, he wrote, Emma, your words and your art are more powerful than you know. You've taught me that hope can take flight when two hearts believe in each other. If you ever doubt your talent or your worth, remember the joy you brought to a once-breaking dream. Tomorrow, I'll be here again, eager to see what you create. Marcus. Marcus placed his reply in the back cover of the sketchbook and returned it to the bench. For a moment, he closed his eyes, breathing deeply. He felt lighter, more grounded than he had in months. That evening, Emma lay in bed, listening to the quiet hum of the city. She thought of Marcus and the way his words settled softly in her mind. She reached for her diary and wrote down everything she felt, gratitude, hope, a growing trust in this silent friendship. Emma drifted to sleep with a smile, visions of handwritten notes dancing behind her eyes. Across town, Marcus stared at the blank page of his day planner, wondering what tomorrow would bring. Neither of them knew what the other looked like clearly, but they felt connected by something deeper. Two kindred spirits finding each other through words and sketches. And as night settled over the city, both of them held on to a simple truth. They were no longer alone. Saturday morning arrived bright and cool, a sharp contrast to the soggy days before. Emma Parker zipped up her light jacket and stuffed a small sketchbook and pencil into her backpack. She decided to take the long way home through Maple Park, hoping to spot Marcus or at least feel the presence of their shared secret. Sunlight danced through the oak tree's leaves, casting dappled patterns on the path. Emma paused by a wooden bench where she usually left her sketches. The spot was empty, but her heart whispered that Marcus would come. She opened her sketchbook and drew the morning scene: children chasing squirrels, joggers in neon shoes, and the old oak standing proud. Underneath, she wrote, "Every new day is a canvas." Nearby, Marcus Evans stepped onto the same path, his mind free of business plans for the weekend. He wore casual jeans and a simple sweater, a stark change from his tailored suits. He carried a small package wrapped in brown paper. Marcus reached the oak tree and spotted Emma sketching. His breath caught. Emma looked up at the sound of footsteps. Their eyes met, surprise and delight rippling across their faces. She rose, closing her sketchbook with a nervous smile. "Good morning," Marcus said, voice warm. "Good morning," Emma replied, her voice soft but steady. "Beautiful day, isn't it?" Marcus nodded and offered the package. "I brought you something." Emma accepted it carefully and unwrapped the paper. Inside was a small wooden box, smooth and polished. She opened the lid to find a set of colored pencils with her name engraved on each one. "For your art," Marcus said. "I thought you might like more colors." Emma's eyes lit up. She touched the pencils reverently. "They're perfect." "Thank you." Marcus smiled. "I saw you sketching today and thought I'd join. Mind if I try?" Emma gestured to the bench. "Please." He sat beside her and placed his package on his lap. Emma handed him a spare pencil. Together, they sketched the oak tree in companion silence, her pencil quick and fluid, his lines careful and precise. The gentle breeze rustled the leaves above them, as though the tree itself was blessing their collaboration. After a few minutes, Marcus showed her his drawing, a simple heart intertwined with the tree's roots. Emma's warmth spread. The symbol felt like a promise. Emma pointed to his heart. "Roots and hope," she said. Marcus nodded. "Everything strong grows from roots." They sat together, side by side, watching the park come alive with the weekend's energy. Words weren't needed. Their shared art spoke volumes. And as they sketched, both felt the unspoken truth. They were no longer strangers, but friends who had found each other in the quiet spaces between paper and pencil. Emma Parker woke before sunrise on Tuesday, her small studio apartment bathed in the pale glow of dawn. She slid out of bed and tiptoed across the wooden floorboards, careful not to wake her elderly neighbor through the thin walls. In the quiet of morning, she treasured hours when the world outside felt paused, giving her room to breathe and create. In one corner of the room, a makeshift art station stood. Stacked canvases, jars of brushes, tubes of paint lined up like colorful soldiers, and a well-worn sketchbook perched on a tiny table. Emma ran her fingers over the leather cover, tracing the initials EP she had embossed the first day she moved in. She opened the sketchbook to the first pages, where naive pencil drawings showed a younger Emma dreaming of wings and open skies. She took a deep breath, remembering why she'd started drawing. As a child, Emma's voice was often lost in the crowd. Teachers praised her obedience and quiet nature, but seldom asked her to share her thoughts. She learned early that silence kept her safe, yet it also hid her dreams. Art became her voice. She learned to speak through lines and colors, to pour feeling into shapes and textures. On the small desk by the window, Emma kept a journal filled with handwritten reflections, sketches of places she hoped to visit, and collages of magazine clippings. She opened it to the latest entry. "The world feels big, and I feel small. Yet when I draw, I fill the emptiness with my own stories. Maybe one day, someone will find my art and know what I feel." Emma tapped the page gently, feeling the curve of the words beneath her fingertip. That day felt closer now, since Marcus had invited her into his world. She reached for her pencil and made notes about the community space Marcus wanted to build. art classes for children, a reading nook for seniors, a gallery wall for local artists. Excitement bubbled in her chest. She set the journal aside and poured a cup of tea. Steam curled upward, carrying the scent of chamomile. Emma moved to the window, where a single potted succulent sat on the sill. Outside, the city stirred, car engines starting, mail carriers on bicycles, the occasional bark of a dog. At her desk, Emma organized her art supplies. She selected a fresh canvas and sketched the oak tree from Maple Park, the marks bold and confident. With each stroke, she felt her shyness soften, a reminder that her art could connect her to others. She paused as her phone buzzed. It was a message from Marcus. "I've found a small room for the center. Let's meet under the oak this weekend and walk through the plans." Emma's heart raced. She typed back, "I'll be there. Thank you for believing." As the morning light filtered in, Emma gathered her sketchbook, journals, and paints. She felt a mix of nerves and determination. Her quiet world of art and journals was about to open to someone who saw her voice. And in that moment, Emma realized that her hidden dreams, once confined to paper, were ready to take a step into reality, guided by the promise of a shared dream and a chance to make beauty together. Saturday dawned crisp and clear. The sky washed a pale blue. Emma Parker arrived at Maple Park earlier than usual. She carried her sketchbook and a small canvas in a tote bag, her fingers brushing the straps as anticipation fluttered in her chest. Today she would meet Marcus again, this time, not just in notes or sketches, but in conversation under the old oak tree. She found the tree easily, its broad branches casting cool shadows on the grass. Nearby, a small folding table and 2 wooden chairs awaited, placed thoughtfully by Marcus. On the table rested Marcus's notebook and a cup of steaming coffee. Emma hesitated, smoothing her skirt, then stepped forward with a shy smile. Marcus looked up from his notebook and rose to greet her. He wore a soft sweater and dark jeans, his hair neat but slightly tousled. His eyes lit with warmth when he saw her approach. "Good morning, Emma," he said, offering his hand in greeting. "Thank you for coming." Emma set her tote bag down and shook his hand, heart beating fast. "Good morning, Marcus. Thank you for inviting me." They sat, a gentle breeze rustling the leaves above. Marcus poured coffee into 2 disposable cups and handed one to Emma. She wrapped her hands around it, grateful for the warmth. He opened his notebook to the floor plan he had sketched. "I thought we could talk through the space today," he said. "But first, I wanted to introduce myself properly." Emma smiled, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "I'd like that." Marcus took a breath. "I'm Marcus Evans. I grew up in Eastwood, just a few blocks from here. I made my career in real estate and tech, but my heart has always been in community work." Emma nodded. "I'm Emma Parker. I work at the local library, and I paint and draw whenever I can." She paused. "Your idea feels important to me." Marcus returned her smile. "I'm grateful for your help. Your art gave me courage to start again." Emma looked down at her coffee. "I was shy at first, afraid my notes would be silly. But then I saw how much they mattered." A comfortable silence fell. Marcus pointed to the floor plan. "This is our blank slate. I imagine classes here, reading circles there, and a small gallery against that wall." Emma leaned closer, tracing the layout. "It feels warm and welcoming. Maybe we could hang art hooks along the east side, so light can illuminate the paintings." Marcus's eyes brightened. "That's a great idea." He marked it in his notebook. "What else do you think?" They talked as equals, artist and dreamer, exchanging ideas about color schemes, seating arrangements, place for children's crafts. Each suggestion built trust, each nod built friendship. Around them, the park hummed with weekend life, families picnicking, joggers weaving past, squirrels darting at their feet. At one point, Emma laughed softly at something Marcus said, and he realized how melodic her laughter sounded against the rustling leaves. He felt his chest tighten in that pleasant way, hope taking shape beyond blueprints and notes. Time slipped by unnoticed until the sun crept higher. Marcus closed his notebook. "Thank you, Emma. This first meeting means more than you know." Emma packed her things and stood. "Thank you for including me." She looked up at the oak tree, then at Marcus. "I'm glad we met." Marcus stood as well, offering his hand again. Emma placed her hand in his, warm, real, grounding. Outside the circle of their chairs, the oak spread its branches like an archway, as if blessing their new beginning. And so, beneath the old oak tree, two shy hearts met and discovered the courage to build a dream together. Emma stood at the entrance of the newly opened Eastwood Community Center, the morning sun casting a warm glow across the fresh coat of paint, colorful murals, and laughter spilling from the playground nearby. It still felt surreal. The once empty lot, overgrown and forgotten, was now alive with children, families, and the spirit of second chances. She clutched a ribbon-bound journal close to her chest, the same one she'd once filled with hidden sketches and quiet thoughts. It was no longer a book of dreams deferred but of dreams realized. Behind her, Marcus approached, his stride relaxed and confident, yet still carrying the thoughtful grace she had come to love. He wore his signature dark suit, but his face was lighter these days. Happier. "Oh, you're early," he said with a teasing smile as he reached her side. "I couldn't sleep," Emma admitted, eyes twinkling. "This place, it's more beautiful than I ever imagined." "It's ours," Marcus said softly, slipping his hand into hers. Together, they stepped through the glass doors into the lobby where the soft scent of new wood and fresh flowers lingered. Along one wall, framed photographs of volunteers, blueprints, and moments from their journey decorated a mosaic of resilience. And right in the center, mounted in a simple wooden frame, was the note Emma had left under Marcus's windshield over a year ago. "Your car brightened my darkest day. Thank you for reminding me that beauty still exists." Emma reached out and touched the glass, her fingers trembling slightly. "I never imagined those words would lead here." Marcus placed his hand over hers. "Those words saved me." Outside, the grand opening crowd had begun to gather. Former skeptics, friends, neighbors, even city officials arrived to celebrate. The energy was vibrant. Hope, joy, and renewed belief filled the air. Marcus stepped up to the microphone on the outdoor stage, Emma by his side. The crowd quieted. "A year ago," he began, "I was a man staring at ruins, of my dreams, my finances, my faith. But someone I didn't know reminded me that beauty can rise from brokenness. Today, that message lives in every brick, every laugh, every heartbeat of this place." Applause thundered around them. Emma blushed as Marcus squeezed her hand. "We built this center together," he continued, "not with millions, but with courage, sacrifice, and community. And most of all, love." Emma stepped forward to say a few words too. Her voice was soft but clear. "I used to hide in the background. I thought my small voice didn't matter. But I learned that kindness, no matter how quiet, can echo into something greater. Don't be afraid to speak your truth, even if it starts with a note." When the ribbon was finally cut, the crowd surged forward. Children raced into the art rooms, neighbors toured the library and dance hall, and old friends reconnected. Emma and Marcus watched it all unfold from the garden. They found a bench beneath the old oak tree they'd once met under, now surrounded by flowering bushes and winding paths. Marcus turned to her. "So, what do we build next?" Emma smiled. "A life." He leaned forward and kissed her gently, the world quiet for just a moment. And in that soft, sacred silence, two once lonely souls knew their story was just beginning. Hey there, story lovers. If you want to add a little more magic, adventure, and heartwarming moments to your day, make sure you subscribe to the Daily Stories channel on YouTube. Join our community of dreamers and seekers of inspiration. Hit that subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you never miss our new story every single day.